मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य माणिस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. May there be perfect correspondence between my thoughts, words, and actions. May the all-pervading divine being shine forth in my life. May the truths of the scriptures come to me. May not what I learn from them ever forsake me. I shall speak what is most appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true, unchanging, ever-present being in our heart. As a steadily burning candle flame. As I concentrate on it, I see the whole universe, including the body, the mind, emanating from it. Are always attracted to it and merge back in it. This is the source of all attraction, all beauty, all love. Om, peace, peace, peace. So, as announced in the last Tuesday's class, that the topic of discussion today is going to be one of the first treatises, earliest treatises of Plotinus, and most studied probably, that is beauty. It is the one of his most beautiful analysis is of beauty, and as it is mentioned here, and as we shall see, that he bases his this discussion in the Plotinus symposium. Within the symposium there is the speech of Diotima. So Diotima is talking about beauty, and we shall see some excerpt from that speech to get an idea as to where Plotinus is going to drive us. So the principle of beauty is, of course, we all seek beauty, and it is intricately connected with love. How this goes forward. This is new thing, so okay, let us begin with the prayers. Asatu ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityormam amritam gamaya. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness of ignorance to light of knowledge, from the divided mortal existence to the undivided immortal existence. Peace, peace, peace. So, Diotima and Plotinus both see that love and beauty, they are very closely connected, and whatever is beautiful gets loved, and whatever is loved starts appearing as beautiful, and they feed into each other. So love and beauty, as it is mentioned there, they supplement each other. There is a well-known incident that one day the school children, as they went to school, usually a tiffin box is carried by the child to school, but that day it was getting late, so mother said, I will bring it to you later. And then as this mother was leaving with the tiffin box to the school, she found that another lady was going, and she said, well, why are you taking trouble? I am going there to, I will give it to your child, but just tell me how to recognize your child. And this mother said, well, he is the most beautiful boy in the school. And this other lady contested this, no, my child is the most beautiful, not your child. Because that the object that is loved is most beautiful. It is, thus you see this beauty, you love what is beautiful, and then what is loved seems to be more beautiful. There is that Arabian, this lore, this story of the Layla and Majnu. So Majnu was the boy's name, Layla was a girl's name, and Majnu was mad in love for Laila. And many of his friends said, well, she doesn't look so pretty, rather she is ugly. Why you are in love with her? And Majnu said, well, you have to have my eyes, to see the beauty there. And you have to get the Majnu's eyes to see Laila's beauty. So that is how the uh, proverb is also there, that the beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. What you love starts appearing tremendously beautiful. So now Diotima, she explains these things a little more in her this treatise, that she cryptically claims that love's function is giving birth in beauty, both in body and in mind. Ultimately, this lover of knowledge will reach the goal of love, which is amazingly beautiful in its nature. So, this the first part of it, I have taken two sentences from this Diotima's speech here, that the love's function is giving birth in beauty, both in body and in mind. The love gives birth to this sense of beauty, that I like it, I love it, I like it, and since I like it, it has to be beautiful. So that love gives this birth to beauty. Diotima discusses a lot about it, but for the sake of our time limitations, I have dropped that, and many of those things would be elaborated further by Plotinus. So, and then she says that look, the knowledge is more beautiful. The beauty is not only about the physical forms, but then there is the a subtler aspect of it, the knowledge. The knowledge is more beautiful, and the knowledge of the highest is therefore the most beautiful. And so she shows there that, and we shall see that sentence of hers in the next slide, that that is the beauty. It is beauty in itself. It is not that it needs certification from somebody, that okay, Jitendra will say that this is beautiful, and then Vitthal will say something else is beautiful. It is, we always have arguments with what is more attractive, what is more delicious, what is more beautiful, and so forth. Because the two views do not match. Person A and person B do not match, then the same person some years back would have a different idea, and then now has another idea. After some years, that will again shift and change. Even moment to moment, those things change. And yet, you will see there is some common principle of beauty. So, what is that? And that is where we have to become philosophical, go into the abstract level. We had done that before, I had explained that idea before as well, that this is how our knowledge is based on analysis and generalization. We go into analysis, discover some inner principles, and then see that those inner principles are common in other things as well, and thus we come to the generalization of it. So, you see, this knowledge itself is beauty, and it gives rise to the ultimate knowledge, thus becomes ultimate beauty. It is mentioned here by her, by Diotima, that this beauty always exists, not coming into being or ceasing to be, and nor increasing nor decreasing. It is absolute beauty, not being beautiful only in some respects or at some times or in relation to certain things or in certain places or to certain people. Absolute beauty, not relative beauty. Relative beauty is what has been described at some time for someone in some situation. It appears beautiful, but this is the beauty that appears in various ways, sometimes beautiful, sometimes not beautiful, but it remains the essential beauty. It will appear in itself and by itself, independent of everything else. All beautiful things share in its character, but these things in no way affect beauty itself. This is what we call philosophically a transcendent and immanent idea, that everything that as and when you see as beautiful, it is that beauty which is appearing in that context, through that apparatus, through that particular body, through that particular thing. That supreme beauty is appearing as beautiful. But it does not get constrained. It is not related to those things at all, because in absence of those things also there will be beauty, and even if those things are there, some persons or in some situation the same person will not see it as beautiful. It is thus, you see, this is an independent principle which gets into everything and yet is not tarnished by anything, is not dependent on those things. So, this is the idea of beauty. It has in Vedanta, although these particular words, they are a bit later than the most ancient Vedantic ideas about it. That is Satyam Shivam Sundaram. That something is truth, being truth, Satya. It is. Its isness also is independent. Then Shivam, it is auspicious. And it is Sundaram, it is beautiful. This is the principle of beauty involved. So, there has been empirical means studies in sciences also, and this is where Plotinus first mentions that the beauty is kind of symmetry that you perceive. You see that there is that beauty is something that is symmetrical and also is patterned. These are the words used here by Plotinus, of course in translation. So, that we always find that things are symmetrical, and then when they have some symmetry, we feel that it is beautiful. It is when we had a handwriting teacher, and because of my handwriting, I was given a special training which made it more legible. So the teacher said, if you write a letter, just write a letter, say A, B, C, and when you write, say a word, what makes it a good writing, a good handwriting, is that they are symmetric. If your A is slanted one way, B is somewhere else, and then the whole word has 3 4 different slants, there is no symmetry, then it will not be considered good handwriting. So there should be symmetry, proportions, all those things are contributing to beauty. And so this is a primary idea. In 1933, a mathematician from Harvard, his name was Birkhoff. So he brought out a theorem, mathematics of aesthetics, that how is the beauty to be a measure of beauty. In mathematics means you have to measure everything. So how to measure beauty, you see. So he gave a very good idea that it is a ratio between the that complexity and order. The order and complexity together, they constitute beauty. There has to be complexity also, because to bring into order, there should be something that is in disorder, and so you bring order to that complex thing, and then it appears beautiful. Like these patterns. Otherwise, if you just draw a line, straight line, now there is no complexity, and nobody will appreciate it as a very beautiful painting. There was a very humorous story that a man had painted just did nothing. It was just a white sheet of canvas there, and blank canvas. And what is this painting about? He said it is the painting of the cow eating grass. Where is the grass? We don't see any grass here. Well, that has been eaten by the cow. And where is the cow? Well, why will the cow wait there after eating the grass? It has gone to some other green pasture. So that is, there is, the beauty is in this description, joke that we laugh about it. But otherwise, there is nothing, there is no complexity, and so there is no question of order. Everything is very orderly. We used to have one another humor like that it is two students appeared for some exam, and then you have to write the answers. And then one child didn't know anything, so submitted the blank answer book. And then the other wrote a lot, but all answers were wrong. Now the one who didn't write anything got 5 marks out of 100, and the other who had written got 0. And this, the one who got 0 said, why you gave him 5? He didn't write anything. So the teacher said, there are 5 marks kept for orderliness. How orderly and nice looking your answer book is. So now, since he had not written anything, naturally it was very orderly. So what is meant is, you can't call it really beautiful. It has to have immense complexity, and yet in and through that complexity there has to be the expression of order. So then it lends to beauty. You can see that in everything. This is not only the visual beauty, beautiful music. Means it is not just somebody is just constantly bringing one note. A complexity of notes, melodic forms are created out of it, and then that lends beauty, complexity and order. So it was a nice idea. It is, of course, that one has to have therefore measure of complexity and measure of order to go by this theorem. But we all agree usually that it is very complex. Like we say, a detective movie is very beautiful. When do we say that? it is a complex plot. It is, and then there is an order, some logical sequence to the things going on, and then the detective finds out ultimately who committed the crime by going through this maze, and then you say, well, that was a great, very beautiful piece of literature. So, this is like that. So now Plotinus agrees with that. Of course, Plotinus is about close to not 2000 exactly, a little less than 2000 years before Barkov. So it is 200 years before that. So, but he says that it is really you have to go deeper to find beauty and go deep. So let me quote from Plotinus there that they finding out the principle of beauty, which when put in it, all things get beauty. Like sugar, you put in things, whatever things you put in proportion to how much sugar you have put, those things start tasting sweet. So, similarly, there is a principal beauty which get added to various things and thus they appear beautiful. So, is such a principle, and Plotinus says that yes, undoubtedly this principle exists. It is something that is perceived in the first glance, something which the soul names as the soul names as from an ancient knowledge, and recognizing welcomes it, enters into unison with it. This idea of unison, that is, it is where, this principle of beauty, like the sugar and flour becoming united, means then you say that, well, this cookie is sweet because flour is united with sugar. So that principal beauty is united with persons, united with things, united with various landscapes. Then you call it, it is beautiful. So such a principle, when it gets united with things, it is beautiful. So that thing becomes beautiful. But let the soul fall in with the ugly, and at once it shrinks within itself. Plotinus mentions that this is a spontaneous thing. A person gets attracted to beauty, it is not needed to be taught to that person. It is spontaneously, even a baby gets attracted to something that is, it certifies from inside that it is beautiful. Nobody needs to tell that infant that this is beautiful. It is something from within tells the person it is beautiful. It is a spontaneous thing. And its opposite, ugliness, that also is recognized, because from that you get pulled away, something that attracts you and something that repels you. These forces are seen. So there is the beauty and something that obstructs this beauty, that one says its ugliness. So these are the principles that we see. Our interpretation in that the soul, by the very truth of its nature, here the word soul, we had seen that in earlier discussions on Plotinus, that there is a soul and there is the soul. So this is the soul, by the very truth of its nature, by its affiliation to the noblest existence, in the hierarchy of being, when it sees anything of that kin or any trace of that kinship, thrills with an immediate delight, takes its own to itself, and thus stirs anew to the sense of its nature and of all its affinity. Just don't get thrown away by the somewhat long sentences, but it is there is an immediate thrill and appreciation. When I was traveling into Himalayas, I had never gone there before, seen some pictures, and when I crossed the initial those hills that I had been before too, and we were on the ascent, and well, the bus turned. We were already about 7,000 feet height, and what a beautiful sight! A snow-capped mountain was just facing us, and the thrill that I experienced at that time, wonderful. Because I had never seen it before, when it is not a beauty in itself. Because later on I spoke to those people who were staying in that Himalayan region, that well, you are so fortunate, you are staying all the time in this beautiful region. We have to come down, we come from plains, so only for a few times in life we get to see these things. And that man said, no, it is not at all beautiful here. We like to go in plains. So it is a relative thing that it becomes boring again and again. And when you have it, it becomes boring. So therefore, we have to see that this principle of beauty is something that is there. It appears, disappears, and then you get thrilled because of that. But then what he is pointing is that the thrill did not come from that mountain. That mountain at that instant became, say, a stimulant. That's all, a catalyst. But it was not that the mountain, because had it belonged to the mountain, all the time, if you stay on that mountain, it should have created that feeling. That doesn't do that. And also, the same thrill you see in other things as well. So you go, say, if you see a tiger and you feel thrilled, wow. Some of us had gone to Maine, and then they were trying to find a moose. Now it is as such not a particularly beautiful animal, but since they had gone there, well, we want to see a moose. So they got up in wee hours of night, because at that time you can see them. So at about 4 o'clock or so, they got into to see moose. And when they saw one, they were thrilled. Yeah, hey, here. So it is. Now those who see moose, I met somebody long back who has moose as pet, you see. So not very thrilled of having seeing the moose. That person sees moose every day. So that thrill is independent. Something else is the cause of it. So one must know that it is that you have to find some other cause. Like a man was told by a fairly senior aged man. So he went to the doctor. Doctor, my right knee is giving lot of pain. Why? The doctor said, well, because of the age it is happening. And this man was wise. It can't be just because of age, because my left knee is as old as my right knee. My right knee, why it is giving pain, not the left one. So there must be some additional cause that is there for the right knee and not for the left knee. So this is how the process of elimination comes. What is the cause? It is you have to see by the exclusion, that if it is not there, then does it happen or not, or when it is there it always happens or not. So thus you see the intrinsic concomitance of that relationship, and then you say that that's the cause. So and he goes deep into this and says that it is there is this heavenly soul, the soul, that is the source of all beauty. He says that that soul which registers beauty, that is the most beautiful thing, and wherever it gets reflected, what happens is you connect it as mine. And thus it starts appearing to you connected, beloved, and beautiful. So, the beauty is coming from the contact with this soul, which is intrinsically beautiful. So, he says there, or perhaps the soul itself acts immediately affirming the beautiful where it finds something accordant with the ideal form. And this is those who study Plato, they must have come across this, for it is in general in English literature you find this term many times used in all European, because it is very heavily influenced by Platonic thought, that ideal form. So that is, we had discussed that idea before, that there is a form, a thing comes and goes, but the word remains giving you an idea, a form. So that is the form. Like chair, there is this form called chair. Whether there is a chair or not is another thing. So this universe also has a form, and the universe comes and goes, the form kind of remains. And then go further deeper, the ideal form, from which all forms seem to crop up, come up, and that is the ideal form. So he mentions that that is the source of beauty. And now his question is, and that is a very interesting question, that what is common in this supreme source of beauty and all the other things that we see as beautiful? There must be some way that they get associated to make these other things also look beautiful. It is, there should be something common. And what is that commonality? What is common between the soul and all these material things? What is that common aspect to it? And then it is, he tells there that it is the common aspect is that you see that it is, it tallies within your mind. So he gives the example of like he has shown the beauty of color, is also the principle of unification. Uh, it derives from the shape, from the conquest of the darkness inherent in matter by the pouring in of light, and unembodied, which is rational principle and an ideal form. Both these things are somewhat technical words. We had discussed them before. That rational principle means because of which the things they become coherent. When we say that is reasonable, means we find a coherence there, that it is reasonable, it is rational. So uh, he says there that look, he gives an example that the unification with the ideal form, when an architect sees what is he imagines. So when the architect when looks at a constructed structure, when he says that it is beautiful, it is then when you the architect sees that what was in his mind is outside sans the stones. If you remove the stones, then what was in his mind now is appearing before that. So that is the certification of beauty. That is how you see that it is so. And now the more important question of practicality comes there, that it is all true, fine. But the question is, what now should we do to get to the ultimate beauty, the true source of beauty? It is what it needs to be done. This is the question of sadhana. In Vedanta, we call it sadhana, a practice that to get to that level of perfection. What should we do? Is there that commonality we saw, but then that commonality between these material things and the heavenly things, means the heavenly beauty or the beauty of the ideal, beauty of the perfect soul, it is and what is the beauty here? What is the connection? So the connection is the unification. Now, how can we get united with the source of beauty itself? What should we do so that we will always see beautiful and never ugly? Isn't it? If we love to see beauty, if we like beauty, nobody says, oh, I love ugly. No, it is the very fact that we love means it is beautiful. So, they to go to that supreme beautiful thing, it is even to see something that is relatively beautiful to some extent, people take so much effort. Oh, let us go to that Yasumiti Park, let us go to the that river Amazon, where there are beautiful forests and so forth. It is so we take so much trouble to do that. Let us climb these very high these mountains to find the beauty. We let us go and see the beautiful structures like Taj Mahal. So these are all things that we take up lot of trouble to do that. So what about this supreme beauty? How much trouble we should take to do that? What is the way to do it? The practical way is described here, that it is the Beauty is, he has also discovered this idea there, that it is authentic existence. We had seen this discussion in the first lecture itself on this, that authentic existence. That may authentic means it is always there. It is something fake means it appears and goes away. So existence of a particular thing is not authentic because it comes and goes. So that which is authentic existence, and that is beauty is authentic existence, and ugliness is contrary to that. Beauty is good, ugliness is evil. This is how he comes to this idea that he, and good in Plotinus terminology is God, and good becomes God just by dropping one O, make it short, so it becomes God. So that is the highest good. So it is, and he says that the more one approaches to God, then those things which appear to be beautiful earlier, those the sensual objects that you loved and thought them to be beautiful, you stop seeing the beauty in them. It changes, that what was thought to be beautiful, thought to be attractive, you start seeing through it, and thus that does not attract you anymore. So this is what happens. You start ascending. That is what the word he has used. But what must we do? How lies the path? How come to vision of the inaccessible beauty dwelling as if in consecrated precincts apart from the common ways where all may see, even the profane? It is not seen. He has mentioned that it is impossible to feel or see that beauty through the senses. Our organs, I mean sense organs like eyes and all, they limit everything. They draw, they constrain the lines so that the beauty appears and disappears. It is not constantly to be felt, constantly to be seen. So this is what we should do then. He says, he that has the strength, of course it is not to be taken in the sense of gender, it is he, she, it, whatever. So he that has the strength, let him arise and withdraw into himself, foregoing all that is known by the eyes, turning away forever from the material beauty that once made his joy. When he perceives those shapes of grace that show in body, let him not pursue. He must know them for copies, vestiges, shadows, and hasten away towards that they tell of. This is the way, that the one who knows that it is, for example, there is a picture of, say, a candy. Now it is a beautiful picture, but it is not real, so you don't go to eat it. You don't go to eat that because you know that it is unreal. What would you like to have, an unreal candy or a real candy? What, Vitthal, will you like? Unreal? Real, okay. Thank you. So, a real. So one would strive to have something that is real. Always we strive for such thing. A fake dollar bill or a real dollar bill. It is. We will take the real dollar bill, fake dollar bill, even if it is $100 bill, and we will not go for it. Even $1 real bill, that is better, you see. So it is, in fact, that is how the things have to be judged. Only why it requires strength? Because having been addicted to the beauty of the senses, even though we understand that it is not permanent, it is not real, we get caught in it. We get addicted to that, and it is difficult to get out of that addiction. That is called strength here, to overcome that addiction. And one needs a resolve for that. I will not do it. I will do the right things, even if they are kind of, tiresome, not, I don't like to do it. But if they are right, I should do it. Uh, those which attract me, but they are wrong because they cheat me, I should reject those. So this is how one starts climbing. Climbing, one aspect of climbing is that it is strenuous. Going down is automatic, easy, it is. A couple of days back we went to downtown walking there, and then while going down, okay, it is automatically you get propelled, as it were. And but then climbing up, it is strenuous, you see. So this path requires strength. Swami Vivekananda therefore always insisted on strength. The strength is religion. The strength is morality. You have to have strength, strength, strength. He says that is my watchword, that only strong. He used to quote that sentence from Upanishad, that Mundak Upanishad. Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhya. This self cannot be realized by the weaklings. What is meant by weaklings here is those who do not have that courage, that resolve, strength of resolve, and it then gets into your physical strength as well. The strength, physical, mental, that all that has to be there to take up this ascent. One may say, what is the need of physical strength here? After a while you may not need it after you have progressed enough. But to get over physicality, you need to have physical strength, because if your body is too weak, it succumbs to the temptations very easily. So to be able to resist the physical temptations, you also need some physical strength. So this is what is meant here, that strength, that it is. When he perceives those shapes of grace and that show in body, let him not pursue. He must know them for copies, vestiges, shadows, and hasten away towards what Swami Vivekananda says. Come on, start journey, difficult journey, but arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. And we have to strive hard. Come on, let me go forward and forward, onward and onward, till we reach the goal. It is so it is said that it is for if anyone follow what is like a beautiful shape playing over water? Is there not a myth telling in symbol of such a shape, of such a dupe, how he sank into the depths of the current and was swept away to nothingness? Well, yeah, there is a story, that it is a that I will not go into the details. A lion was killing all animals, and then one little rabbit said, "Well, I will manage the lion." And then the rabbit told the lion that, "Well, there is a bigger lion I saw. In this there is no other lion. I am the king. I am the lion here." "No, no, I saw. If you want, I can show you." And then they was taken to a deep lake there, and then he told lion, "Look into it. You will see there, right there. It is hiding. Ah, kill that lion that you see in the pond there. Hey, come on." And that lion saw its own reflection, and then with a big roar leaped to attack that lion, and you know what would happen. So it is when we see these attractive bodies, attractive objects, let us remember that they are reflections, they are shadows. If we go after them, we shall get cheated. So this is how Plotinus tells that one has to go. Let me read a little more. He says, "Withdraw into yourself and look, and if you do not find yourself beautiful yet, act as does the creator of a statue that is to be made beautiful. He cuts away here, he smoothens there, he makes this line lighter, this other purer, and a lovely face has grown upon his work. So do you also cut away all that is excessive, straighten all that is crooked, bring light to all that is overcast, labor to make all one glow of beauty." He calls this whole process as purification. That how to find the beautiful, it is all in the, everywhere it is there, but it is, we have to purify it. This is in Vedanta we call it tapas, that it is perform austerities, means purify yourself of all the dross, that which you find as ugly, because in you support it in yourself, but when you find it in somebody else, you know that it is not right. You somehow, if I told a lie, I will somehow try to support. Because of that I told lie, I am not culpable really. But when somebody else tells you a lie, you see that that is not right. So apply that. That impurities have to be taken out. And then he says that that kind of eye, when you know that you have become this perfect work, then when you are self-gathered in the purity of your being, nothing now remains that can shatter that inner unity. Nothing from whom, clinging to the authentic man, when you find yourself wholly true to your essential nature, you develop that vision. And then he continues, "This is the only eye that sees the mighty beauty. If the eye that adventures the vision be dimmed by vice," the vice is like cataract in that eye, so it dims the vision. So it is uh, it is uh, the impure or weak and unable in its cowardly blenching to see the uttermost brightness, then it sees nothing, even though another point to what lies plain to sight before it. So, this is how the purification goes on. Therefore, first let each become godlike and each beautiful who cares to set to see God and beauty. So, uh, he has equated the two. God is the beautiful. So, here we learn, if we want to see beautiful, if we want to have our love, we will find it in God alone. And when we find that, everything will be seen as beautiful as it is all reflection, a shadow of divine. So, therefore, this is the way. It's a very beautiful treatise of Plotinus, and so uh, we shall conclude with the closing prayers, and then if you have some questions, you can ask. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahura Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. So, are there any questions, Srikant, up there? No questions today. Are there any questions here? Yes, Paul? Yeah, they, that which is real, correct. That which is real, it gets reflected, and so that beauty also gets reflected. But as we see that the reflection is not real, and therefore that beauty does not last either. Yes, Richard? Yeah, it is at that when you, that is why one has to strive to do that. That striving is very important. It is, one has to strive, work hard, relentlessly, and without giving up. One has to girdle loins and work, work, work. What happens, as you work, as you start climbing, you will start seeing things which are really more and more beautiful, and then that will propel your journey as well. You would then move further, because you found by going more beautiful. So you will go further to find more beautiful till you reach the summit. Yeah. So next Tuesday we will have the last class of this Plotinus series, and I plan to let us see about the principle of the uh, ultimate existence and non-existence. So it is titled, and then how the multiplicity uh, arises from the one good. So very interesting topics. So the integral omnipresence of the divine principle, and how the one appears as many. So Thank you very much.